shall survive. My people, open your eyes. Wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice. Rastafari.
Well, lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak, and caused all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them start bleaching, diverse doctrine. Them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching. They're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them pan cell phone. Families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare to use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan lost for the throne, so we must accept us and leave him alone. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Check the energy, make it so hard to go have a family. Man, woman and child, well that are the trinity. Preserve the bloodline, Solomonic dynasty. Vatican them say you be that them malice and them thief. Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man, creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion's Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network. Today we have a special episode. We are on location here in New York City. You can see with the backdrop of the skyscape in the forward. I am in New York City. Came here for a family mission. I and I Queen Earthstrong, April 18th. We just dropped a special episode with Bongo Grease commemorating the anniversary of His Majesty visit to Trinidad. If you have not seen that yet, please go check it out. We do a deep dive into His Majesty visit to Trinidad. For all those who commented on the episode, big up yourself. We got one comment that gave a clarification in terms of how the Ethiopian Orthodox Church reached to Trinidad mighty. And that's why I love the Lion Pride, because we have some learned brethren and sisters who watch, who are in the comments. We're building a community here. But today's episode is going to be a 2-in-1. I was originally going to do an episode on His Majesty visit to Jamaica because the 21st is tomorrow.
However, while here in New York, or as we say in the Ayabingi in Old York, Israel attacked Iran. A couple episodes ago, or last episode, sorry, we talked about 5 signs that Babylon is falling. And, I made mention that Iran had just did a retaliation strike against Israel for the bombing of the Iranian embassy in Syria. Over 300 drones and missiles to Israel. This morning in the early lights of Friday morning, Israel has retaliated from the retaliation. So the world now waits to see if Iran is going to retaliate. Initially, they're playing it down, so the world is hopeful that this will not lead to an immediate escalation. But everyone on the Lion Pride and everyone who's in tune with the prophecy, biblical prophecy, and everyone who knows what's happening knows that even if Iran doesn't strike forward, this is just a pause in the action. I have been saying on this channel for months and months and months, World War III is here. If you look in the mainstream now, you're seeing headlines, World War III, them late. And that's why it's so important, again, Rastafari, independent media, because we're on the pulse, letting ones know the preparation time is happening. So if you're watching this video and you have not prepared yourself or began preparing, and what do I mean by preparing? I mean the storing of food. I mean, if you are serious about repatriation, activating your plans, accelerating your plans. I mean, connecting with your local farmer community, making sure not only that you are collecting food and water for your premises so that if the imports them stop from forwarding, you will be okay, but also connecting with a network of farmers in your local region so that you can sustain or you can make provision for yourself and your family. It's that time, family, because if Iran gets drawn into the war, they most likely will close the Straits of Hormuz, where 25% of the world's energy flows through, which is going to send the price of oil and gas through the roof, which in turn will send the price of basic commodities through the roof. So this is real time, particularly for my brethren, the head of household, my sistren who are leading their households without brethren, but for all of the families, as a leader, this is now when you have to exercise that far eye and put in provision so that you are prepared for what is to come and you do not find yourself in a dire position where you're forced to accept the government assistance that may come with strings attached, aka mark of the beast. So we're in that time, family. But I also, again, we did the tribute to His Majesty visit to Trinidad, so I also want to touch on His Majesty visit to Jamaica. I had some plans, we're still going to execute some of that, but we are going to talk about, in particular, His Majesty's speech to the Jamaican Parliament, because I think he said something in that speech that it ties into what's happening right now with this international situation. What am I talking about? In that speech to Jamaica, His Majesty said that the relationship between Ethiopia and Jamaica would be critical for the maintenance of international peace and security. And when we look at a small Jamaica, we look at Ethiopia, we're wondering how is that possible that a little small island could have a relationship with Ethiopia that's key for international peace and security. And I'm going to talk about, my thoughts on that. I want to get Lion Pride thoughts on that in this episode. So we're going to look at His Majesty's speech to Parliament. We can talk about the divine ratification when he gave the gold medals to the members of the Rastafari movement, who up until that time were ostracized by the society, slum dwellers, gully bank dwellers. We've heard from Mama Fire, others that, the Rastafari community, they were dwelling on the gully bank. They were dwelling, in dump sites. Bakawal was a dump site. They were dwelling in the worst of slums in Jamaica, unable to interact with the wider Jamaican society. 40 leg in your head, them type of thought the Jamaican society, dirty Rasta, the black heart man, all of these things were levied against the Rastafari community at that time. And we see that His Majesty, as the King of Kings, coming to Jamaica, opening up the public forum so that the Rastafari brethren could attend and giving them gifts. Now, elevate, you can imagine, it's like I went to uh, California Slum Row, or you had a foreign dignitary go to Skid Row and elevate the ones. I'm not saying that Rastafari are drug addicts or dwellers on Skid Row, but I'm saying how the society perceived them would be how the society perceived those homeless dwellers in California. So you can imagine His Majesty paying attention, not just paying attention, but elevating the leadership. And so that is the divine ratification. So when people say that Rastafari or Haile Selassie deny Rastafari people, he had not wanted nothing to do with I, this visit refutes in dramatic fashion those claims. And in terms of him denying his divinity and things of that nature, again, this visit would show that, His Majesty said, "Who am I to judge a belief as strong as this?" So we have those testimonies from our elders, and we'll get into it over the year because I'm going to be intensifying the efforts to interview our elders. And I want to just take the time right now to acknowledge the passing of one of our great elders, youthful elder Rasmaka Bongo Vince, who we heard about from Mama Fire, who she grew up with, when she was in the house of Mama Bubbles, Bongo Shefan. Bongo Vince is Mama Bubbles' son. And, he just passed in Ghana. The brethren realized his vision, turned to Ghana, and passed away. So we want to just send condolences to the family. He was a mighty angel, part of the Rastafari Mansion and organization, recently forwarding from a trip to Brazil. We don't know the full confirmation in terms of cause of death and these things, but for it underscores the mission that we have here at the Lion Voice Network to capture the stories. Because I had in my mind, I'm going to call Bongo Vince and interview him and get the other side, of his, growing up with Mama Fire there in Waterhouse. And look there, no longer able. We're going to bring his children on the Lion Voice, however, to give tribute to his father. So look out for that episode. I have whole heap of content to deliver to the family in the archives. We have a South African Rastafari brethren, Ras Ainiti. We are about to drop that interview. We have an interview coming up on mental health. Big interview. If you saw the Trinidad footage with Bongo Grease, you would have seen the opening drop with the #1 reggae artist in Trinidad, Queen Omega. So family, you can see the Lion Voice Network empire is growing. We're touching, the word sound is spreading, we're reaching the family. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And as I say that, big up Lion Pride. And I know what you're asking if you're just coming here. How do I become part of the Lion Pride? If you subscribe, you are part of the Lion Pride. Remember that. If you subscribe, all you have to do is click the button and you join this rapidly growing community of Rastafari and Panafrican people from across the globe who are coming together to uplift and create world-class Rastafari independent media, touching all topics, but firmly and unapologetically Rastafari. So join us and big up The Lion Pride on Patreon, 14 Fire Angels in the Patreon. Who remembers when we were 2 people just for over a year? And I can tell you those 2 people who helped kick us off, and I love and honor those 2 people. They are no longer part of the Patreon. Who knows what happened? Things happen. It's rough times. Sometimes your economics does not allow you to do the support that you want. So those 2 um, people who kicked us off are no longer there, but we have 14 fire angels from across the globe who have come together. Again, I'm pushing to get that 14 to 1,000 by September 11th. That is a tall, tall order. So if you can support with a $5, a $10, $25, please support Rastafari Independent Media. And remember, particularly for my brothers and sisters in the West, that in times to come, the Western fiat currency, meaning the Western paper money, will be worthless. So the time is now. Invest in platforms and things that you think are going to help to move us forward and to help liberate our people. I asked the question, are you invested in the liberation of your people? If not, then you need to make some changes. And that doesn't mean necessarily just supporting the Lion Voice platform. You can support any platform you want to support. You can invest in any organization, but make sure you're doing something with your dollar other than just survival. Because the bills now go nowhere. The sufferation now go nowhere, but you need to siphon off of some of that to a liberation activity. And this platform is a liberation hub because we're bringing frontline soldiers. We're connecting people who would not necessarily connect. Big up Empress Sharon, who connected with our Blue Fire family through the platform. Big up, many people are connecting through the platform. So we have to just give thanks for all of that to happen. I also want to big up Junior from I Never Knew TV. We're planning another appearance on that platform. I've done several appearances on that platform. We're also running, I Never Knew TV is running the Lion Voice special edition program. Just dropped the Sprague Benz interview. I think it's over 30,000 views over there on I Never Knew TV. Several platforms have covered it. Sprague don't do interviews like that. So for him to sit down for over an hour with I, big thing. So if you have not seen the Sprague Benz interview on I Never Knew TV, go on and follow it. And I want to big up, I just had someone in the comments say they came over from I Never Knew TV. So ones are finding out about the platform through I Never Knew TV. If this is your first episode, welcome to the Lion Voice. We are here doing what we can to make sure that, again, Rastafari voice is heard. The lion and the lionesses, us outside of the artists. Because, again, I'm going to start bringing the artists on the platform. I'm not disrespecting the artists, but they cannot be the only voice when we think about Rastafari. Because, yes, they are publishing the work, but there are many, many ones who are actually doing day-to-day work in the trenches, making things happen. So I want to make sure those voices are heard. These are the ones who are inspiring the artists. So we're going to have a nice balance. But again, I'm going to be bringing some artists. And we're going to start with exclusive interview with Queen Omega from Trinidad. They're getting ready to drop that. It's going to drop on Patreon first. So all of the Lion Pride on Patreon, you will get it first. And we're going to switch up a little now that we have 14 Fire Angels. For the exclusive interviews, we're going to drop them on Patreon first. We'll drop clips on YouTube. So kind of opposite to how we've been operating. At first I was dropping the whole interview and then I would do the clips because we didn't have too many people in Patreon. So if we drop the full interview in Patreon and we don't have nobody in there, I didn't think, made much sense. Now that we have community building, we have conversation going on in the Patreon, I have to reward those who are investing in the platform. So we'll drop the exclusive interviews. So if you want to see them early, I'm also going to be doing an exclusive episode about this trip to New York. So you'll get a little bit inside in the Bantu family, moving around New York City. So check it out. Exclusive content on the Patreon. That's how we support and sustain. We need to hire an editor. We need to upgrade the camera. We have a whole heap of plans. We want travel on location so we can do more in-person interviews. Check out different Rastafari communities, different works. We want to travel through the continent and bring people what's happening in real time. So that costs money. So if you can invest, invest. All right, housekeeping out of the way. Let us get into the topic, which is Armageddon War and why His Majesty on his visit to Jamaica said Jamaica and Ethiopia's relationship is critical to international peace and security. I want to set the context. First of all, when His Majesty came, the visit was dominated by the Rastafari movement. So anything His Majesty is saying, we can take it as directing a large part of that to the Rastafari movement. If we look at what's happening in Ethiopia now, Ethiopia is being pulled apart by tribalism. We have the Fano movement, we have the Tigray liberation movement, we have the Oromo. All of these groups are fighting each other right now, pulling Ethiopia apart. There's one force on this earth that can unite Ethiopia, that can unite Africa, and that is Pan-African power of Rastafari. And I say that because Rastafari is already established and growing on the ground in Africa. It is the one thing that I've seen in my lifetime that regardless of tribe, you will have people of different tribes coming together, putting aside petty tribal differences to become part of a larger Rastafari family. So when His Majesty says in Jamaica, where again is plain lands and is surrounded by the Rastafari community, Nyabingi drum beating, His Majesty, I get the Nyabingi vibration. Martimo Plano coming up on the plane, telling the people to part. His Majesty seeing red, gold, and green everywhere in Jamaica, every street corner. He's seeing Rastafari. And remember that His Majesty grew up in an Ethiopia, the ancient Ethiopia, where he would have seen the Bahatawi, which are the Ethiopians who look like Rastafari, beard, locks, these monastic priests who travel throughout the countryside preaching judgment and justice. So he would have gone to the West and seen this manifestation happening in Jamaica. So we have to look at it on that level there when His Majesty is going through and saying that this relationship would be key to the maintenance of international peace and security. And you can disagree, put it in the comments, is a charge to the Rastafari movement that we have work to do in terms of this unification movement, because this Armageddon war that is kicking off right now, again, as I'm recording this, Israel has struck Iran. Iran may retaliate, may not. But again, even if Iran doesn't retaliate, Israel is planning to go into Rafah. There is a whole lot of things happening that's going to escalate this Armageddon struggle. And again, it's only a matter of time. It's not a if, it's not a when. We see the BRICS countries lining up against the G7. The war in Ukraine, we're hearing that the U.S. has passed a spending bill, or is on the verge of passing a spending bill to rearm and refund Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. So China and Russia have just signed a mutual defense pact. Russia has told Iran, "No worry yourself, we're there with the eye." So this is global war that is happening at the same time that we see Africa emerging. We see Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger rising. Russia has also sent troops down into Burkina Faso to support their uprising there. So the battle lines are being drawn, and if anybody is a student of history and know how World War One, World War Two unfolded, it's the same way. It's not an overnight global war situation. There's a lead up, skirmishes, outbreaks, attacks, and then it escalates. So we're in that escalatory period, but To I, World War III has already begun, and you would be naive and dare I say foolish to believe that it's business as usual. And if you're conducting yourself that is business as usual, then you are going about this completely wrong, my family. So when we look at His Majesty again, with all of this context of the world order crumbling, we have to look at, you know, the future and the hope. The stone that the builder refused shall become the head cornerstone. Africa has been refused and rejected by all of the nations in terms of, Africa has no vote on the Security Council, not represented in the most powerful entity on the planet in terms of international peace and security. But yet still, Africa is the hope, because Africa, being the cradle of civilization, is going to be the place where all the resources, food security, all of these things contingent, and Africa's underdevelopment is actually going to become a blessing, because it means that we have a template on which to build, which has not been fettered by industrialization and certain things. We can build a new order that preserves nature, that incorporates nature into the landscape. If you haven't seen any of my videos on the building of Zion and what Zion can look like and elements, check it out, because we talk about that on the channel, and we're going to talk about it a lot more, what our vision is for building the alternative to Babylon. But that is really what His Majesty was saying. It's the I and I as Rastafari people. We need to get our act together so that we can return home and help to dismantle tribalism. Because remember, biggest challenge that we face is not here in the West. It's when we go home. It's dismantling tribalism and neo-colonialism. These are the fight. That's the front line of this liberation struggle. Right now, for those who are in the West, we are behind enemy lines, meaning we are just trying to dig ourselves out of a hole. And I want to be clear, we are claiming the Caribbean, CARICOM, is part of Africa's 6th region. So I want to be clear that all of these islands are satellite regions. However, in the Armageddon, we can't depend on the satellite. We have to secure the home base. Some of these islands may sink, for example, earthquake. They may be swallowed. There's going to be a lot of shifting, a lot of changes happening. So we don't want to just stay in the islands and we don't go home and help to be a part of the solution, the uprising. And this is why it's so important, this repatriation push. But as we celebrate His Majesty's visit to Jamaica, visit to Parliament, and again, I'll put the statement up on the screen that His Majesty said. I want to hear from the item what you think His Majesty means when he says that the relationship between Jamaica and Ethiopia would be key to the maintenance of international peace and security. We also want to make mention that he talks about the African blood being a basis of greater unity. So, in Jamaica they say out of many one people, and they like to talk about that. But that's not a reality in Jamaica, because the white Jamaicans, the Chinese Jamaicans, the Indian Jamaicans don't invest in the black population in Jamaica, unfortunately. Their wealth is kept within their communities. So when I look at that out of many one people in the Jamaica motto, I take it to mean out of the Igbo, out of the Ashanti, out of the Fanti, out of the Kikongo in St. Thomas, that these tribes coming together is what became the one. And again, this would have been supported by His Majesty's speech to the Parliament, where he talks about the African blood in Jamaica. He emphasizes that. Also, the mission was to get Jamaica to join the OAU. So this was before the 6th Region Initiative, where the entire CARICOM became part of that. But that's a continuation of His Majesty's mission, going to the diaspora to recruit these satellites into the AU. So this was started under Kadamawi Haile Selassie. And again, it's all about African unity and how the diaspora can come in because we don't have these close tribal affinities in terms of Ashanti, Igbo, Yoruba, Amhara, Tigray, all of these things. We don't have that. So we are the perfect children to come home and to build that Pan-African unity, that gumminess, as Priest Tooth would say, Honorable Priest Tooth would say, that gumminess. We are the ones that can bring that gumminess and that unification to the continent. So I want to hear from the family what you think. Does this make sense? How do you interpret that? Let's have the conversation. Big up the Lion Pride. Big up the Lion Pride on Patreon. We are here in New York City. I am in Times Square Hotel, having a good time with the family in the midst of Armageddon. We have to take time for the family, celebrating the Earth Strong of the Queen. So if you want to send some Earth Strong greetings to the Queen, you can send it in the comment section. I'm gonna see if I can get, my queen is very shy, people. I'm gonna see if I can get her to just block a sound for the Lion Pride on Patreon. I'm going to work on that. She don't want to come on the main channel and them thing there. So I'm gonna see if I can get her to just block a sound. But yeah, man, we feel good. We're building the community. It's growing. I feel good. We want to accelerate the pace of growth. Again, we want to get to 1,000 people in the Patreon by September 11th. I want to get to 10,000 people on the channel by the end of this calendar year, 2024. So we're going to press gas. We're nearing 2,500 subscribers. So big up everyone who has subscribed to the Lion Pride. We're just getting started. More exclusive content. We're bringing in some new programming, more interviews, and just more coming together. We are going to be that platform that documents the uprising, the great gathering, and the great return that is happening. I'm getting calls from all sides and all tribe, organization, centralization is happening, and in a large part because of the visibility that this platform has provided. And we will not stop. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
The second beast was given the power to give breath unto the image of the first beast so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced the people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive the mark on their right hands and in their forehead. Gone down in the new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them start bleaching, diverse doctrine, them start preaching. Angels for the stars they reaching, they're falling, never hear the lion calling. New world order, them fight against the poor. Machine and robot that sweep them floor. Machine and robot that run them stores. So them create disease ones without any cure. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them video game, that's the new matrix. It's a new world order. Them pan cell phone, families don't even talk in their home. Village farmers get murdered by drones. Village mistress get murdered by stones. New world, so you better call Tyrone. Tell him prepare to use the whole earth a war zone. New world, Satan lost for the throne, so we must exit us and leave him alone. The new world order, new world order. Happy work harder, happy pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip, and them prison cell, that's the new slave ship. New world order, new world order. I feel work harder, I feel pray harder. Babylon them coming with them microchip and them video game that's new matrix. It's a new world order. Check the energy, make it so hard to go have a family. Man, woman and child, well that are the trinity. Preserve the bloodline, Solomonic dynasty. Vatican them say a beat at them malice and them thief. Harvest and them reap for the global elite. As when the elder him said, don't you weep. The lion destroyed them by the words that he speak.